Sean O'Connor, the writer-director behind Lady Luck, is joining me in studio. Now he's going to introduce us to his theatre piece that hopes to raise awareness around gambling addiction here in South Africa. Hello.
Hey Jennifer, how are you?
Good, how are you? I noticed you're wearing your Lady Luck t-shirt.
Yeah, we had an artist called Conrad Boertes design us this poster, which we use in schools to advertise the show. We've tried to create an intervention which gets people's attention and sustains it and deserves it. So it's been a challenge with young people. We've hired actors who freshly graduated from UCT. They all look young, they all look good in school uniform. We go into the audience, we hit them hard, we borrow pieces of their uniform, we put on their blazers and ties, and it starts with an exam. So the kids are immediately locked in there, and then we tell a story about gambling and how it impacts on a certain family.
Now, why gambling? Why do we need to touch on this? Why do we need to show it to grade 9 and 10 students?
Well, initially I was also a little circumspect about gambling. I was approached by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. Once I started doing some research, I spoke with some learners in my community in Observatory Salt River. I discovered that young people are exposed to gambling. Sometimes they're exposed quite innocently. Someone in their family gambles. I met a boy whose father was shot after leaving Grand West.
Wow.
I met a boy who'd been expelled from school. He never got his matric for gambling at school. So gambling is a part of life. It affects people. There is help and support available. And it often goes hand in hand with other issues like substance abuse or alcoholism and those types of things.
Now, before you started working on Lady Luck, was gambling addiction something that you had been, I don't want to say aware of because everybody's aware of it, but was it something you thought about?
No, it wasn't. I thought, you know, the stereotype is the elderly person sitting on the stool in the casino, pressing the button ad nauseum. But there's no actual demographic for your problem gambler. I heard a story the other day of a person who goes to church, they're a pillar of their community, but when they get home, they don't eat. They spend every single cent online gambling.
Wow.
So it's a kind of thing that's there when you start looking for it. Yeah, but personally, it wasn't something in my life at all.
Well, now tell me about working on Lady Luck. It's a 35-minute play that's shown to students in high school.
Yeah.
What was it like writing and directing a play that had such a message?
Well, gambling is a great subject matter because it involves deceit and hope, and you know, we've got gangsters who send their thugs to try and recover some money from the one character. So it's good material for something quite hard hitting. We do the show, which lasts about 35 minutes, and then we take a segment of the audience into a workshop situation, and we ask them what scenes they'd like to see from the show again, and we replay those scenes. And we invite them to stop the action anytime they want to change something. We say pineapples when you want the action to change.
Right.
And then the kids tell us what they want to see happening in the show, especially around friendship and that type of thing. And with a little sleight of hand, we can get the kids joining the actors in the workshop and reenacting the scene with changes. And then what's so cool is that the next time we perform, the show is different.
Wow.
So we can say to the performers, we really need to resolve this scene differently, and we need references to that scene over here at the end. That's how we're going to play it tomorrow. So over 10 performances, the show has changed remarkably, and the audience have been really involved in the narrative. So yeah, there's a sense of ownership and agency, and that's what makes a difference, I think.
What kind of feedback have you received from students and teachers?
Well, it's been really overwhelming. Teachers tell us that their families are affected by gambling.
Wow.
Most kids and teachers enter the hall with a bit of resistance. They think they're going to get something mediocre or substandard, something that moralizes and tells them what to do. And they leave delighted. They leave quite surprised. We're rude, we're funny, we like to delight the audience and create a really pleasant experience. So we've also done surveys after the show. We give each learner a questionnaire. We've got 3,500 of those questionnaires back.
Wow.
We've got a lot of data on there. Data about how many people in your family, do you know a gambler, do you know a friend who gambles, do you gamble? And we found that 97% of respondents think the show is true to life and accurate. About 85% rate it as great on a 1 to 5 scale. They rated 5. So we've got high levels of good feedback. Yeah, it's very encouraging.
Now, was there anything you learned about gambling addiction working on the show?
The terminology around gambling is quite interesting. So you get your problem gamblers. They're about 5% of the adult population.
In South Africa?
In South Africa, and that level stays pretty constant.
Okay.
Then you get what you call your pathological gamblers, and that's about 0.5% of the population. These are people who are down the rabbit hole. They're gone. They need medication and severe interventions to break the pattern. Problem gamblers threaten their families and themselves, but they're not pathological gamblers. So gambling addiction, you know, they're grades and levels, and I'm interested in luck and fate and choice. So our show is really about risk and choice. Yeah.
Well, you say you're not, telling the kids what to do. They come out delighted. It's not what they expected. How do you present it in a way that they actually take in the information and they actually start thinking about it?
Like all the shows that Takeaway Theatre makes, we do a lot of research with the audience, and we try and tell the audience's truth. So once the audience see that we're a mirror of them, and they start buying into the intervention, and they've laughed and warmed up to us, then we feel we've earned their respect and we can start telling a story. We make a lot of theatre on fetal alcohol syndrome. We've been making theatre on that since 2006. We travel to a lot of communities, and just like with Lady Luck, we're very careful not to tell the audience, don't drink during your pregnancy, you're bad, because people do drink during their pregnancies. We've got to find a way of supporting them so that they can make a choice not to do it. So yeah, it's about earning the audience's respect and deserving it.